Okay, the moment we've all been waiting for. I got this fancy respirator with these cartridges in it. We have a sander. Of course, we have the wrong size sanding pad, but we have basically 60 grit, okay? This rudder has now been void of all of the old foaming. We have the new foam, it's a two-part series. If you think I'm not absolutely scared to death at this point, you're crazy. I'm scared to death. Never done anything like this. This is where the rubber meets the road. We got to scratch sand it, clean it, acetone it, and then apply the foam rubber. We don't have a lot of time. Not sure if we're going to get to it this second. Stick with us. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, next step, acetone. You gotta write this down, get it clean, maybe do it twice. Check this out. So welcome to The Algorithm. My name is Scott Tucker. This is an episode that's going to kick off in a very unconventional way. We're on our way to the Temple Medical Center with Captain Brian Mullen, who has been with the expedition long before The Algorithm was born. But today, I'm hoping to just have a quick conversation and maybe clarify some things about what I've recently identified in my own life is the power of resentment and how much it plays out for years in the minds and the hearts of people that feel that they have been wronged. I'm in a situation now where I'm in communication with somebody that really feels like I have wronged him. And I presently, I'm trying to act in a professional way and really got the most unprofessional response you could imagine without getting into too many details. Captain Mullen, are you, in all of your business experiences, are you familiar with this thing where people hold a resentment against you and you're still in communication with them? And how do you deal with that? I'm really curious, how do you deal with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it happens all the time, unfortunately. I'm very, in business purposes, I would call it anti-woke. So I deal with strictly the numbers and the logistics and the facts. I don't deal with feelings business-wise. But there are so many people these days that actually use these, I don't want to call them idiotic feelings, but definitely they use more feelings than common sense, which goes against everything you're trying to achieve business-wise.
I'm attempting to maintain my footing on the high road so I don't step into that. And then I wonder, do I address it do I come back and address it later? If someone's an adult in their 50s and their behind is still stinging over 2.5 to 3 years later from a situation that they felt that they were wronged. And I have attempted to address it and address it directly. And you still sense there is this resentment that's cooking I'll give you some examples. You're having a meeting. It's an impromptu one, but you've asked for permission. You got it. The person never makes any eye contact with you. Or if they do, it's just maybe for one split second. The rest of the time, they're looking out. The second thing is, in the middle of the meeting, or sort of, it's not over. They just stand up. They just stand up. And then thirdly, they walk out of the room. It's just like, this is adult kindergarten is what you're dealing with. Instead of, saying, look, I get it. I have to go now. There's nothing.
And the lack of eye contact is absolutely huge. With the internet and the cell phones these days, there's very little actual personal contact where you can actually develop a respectful business relationship over a goddamn text. I mean, it's stupid. We're in a new world, and it's very disconcerting. I'm not happy with it at all.
Yeah, it's frustrating, especially with the younger generations, but I don't want to go too far in that direction because it's a great topic, but my theory is, and I've done some research when it comes to things like resentments and how we act or choose not to act with them. There's scientific research that shows that we as a species, Homo sapiens, whatever you want to call us, humans, people, we actually, there's two schools of thought. With a resentment that you try to play out in such a way where you shun that person or you give them less attention, or you even try to perpetrate some sort of harm upon them. That kind of resentment never gets satiated. In other words, the person that's trying to get back at you with a resentment in some way, it's almost like the gift that never stops giving. They can't get enough. It's like a drug. Like they get this little sense of satisfaction when they try to get even with you or smitten with you, and then they need more. It's like a drug. And scientists have studied this in human beings. Like they get addicted to being resentful because of that feeling. They never quite get high enough from perpetrating harm against you or attempting to perpetrate harm against you. They never get enough of it. Do you follow me?
It is, like I said, it's like a drug, and they never get over it, and you're constantly battling it, and it's exhausting.
For those of you just joining us, again, Scott Tucker here. You're aboard the Algorithm in the land vessel. And Captain Mullen here seated next to me on his way to a procedure. Talk about the Energizer Bunny. Talk about the Energizer Bunny. The guy just keeps going. But what I want to finish with, and perhaps we'll pick it up later, is that scientists have already found that holding resentments and trying to enact some sort of, how do you call it, revenge, right?
That's a good way to put it.
Is actually, again, there's two schools of thought. One is, look, you can't get enough revenge. It's like heroin, all right? Once you get going, you can't get enough. But there are other schools of thought that say, it alerts the whole community that you can't behave that way. Right or wrong, that this person is angry at you, and if they have some power, they'll continue to try to perpetrate that resentment. And so that's where it gets a little tricky. It's not black and white. In some cultures, in some tribes, whatever you want to call it, villages, everybody was notified that, say, somebody stole something or somebody behaved in a way, that was completely out of line. And it's a message to the rest of the community that, guess what? You can't behave that way. So in that realm, that does benefit society. But the person themselves is almost eaten alive like a cancer.
Well, I don't disagree, because I personally have my own issues with a lot of the things that are going on in this world, and I don't pull any punches. I don't pretend to be politically correct. I throw it out there based on truth, facts, and statistics, but you got to learn to let it go. Once you throw it out there and you make your point, move on to the next.
Yes. Some could see things in a negative way and others can see them in a positive way. It's hard to believe, but our brains are so big. They're so complicated. We don't even understand them. It seems like, you look up at the sky and say, oh yeah, that's blue. And somebody says, no, that's pink. It's almost that.
It is that crazy sometimes.
It's that crazy. Anyways, you're on the algorithm. We've got a lot to cover. We got a rudder to rebuild. Captain Mullen here is going to hopefully be able to give me some coaching.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, and
I got to get some eyesight.
But even more importantly, as being a part of the algorithm, I want you to know we're about to take you on a journey through pieces and parts of 10 years of history, my history, in some cases Captain Mullen's history, at sea. And I'm going to weave in a piece coming up here about a journey Captain Mullen and I undertook back in 2019, where we hopped aboard the Kobayashi Maru, a previous vessel, and we said, we're going to Florida from Old Saybrook.
That was an interesting trip. We had missiles shot at us. We got into the naval war game.
Hold on. Don't give it away. So, we'll see ya. Against all logic and common sense, curiosity finally got the cat. I decided to run the Kobayashi Maru over 1,200 miles down to Vero Beach. Let's see if we can make this thing work. First destination, somewhere inside Sandy Hook region. Mansion Marina. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! It's never good when you're about to depart on a long journey and your girlfriend sends you a link to an Apple News article done by CNN about narcissism. Yikes, that looks a little dark up ahead there, Captain. I know we're in Long Island Sound at this point, but sure, it looks like the Bermuda Triangle. Holy Christ! We got Daddy-O behind us. Big Bob. I swear that looks like something out of that movie. What was that movie? Vanishing Point, straight ahead. I know we're in Long Island Sound at this point, but sure, it looks like the Bermuda Triangle. Holy Christ! We got Daddy-O behind us. Big Bob. I swear that looks like something out of that movie. What was that movie? Vanishing Point, straight ahead. Vanishing Point! You're on the Kobayashi Maru. We just departed Old Saybrook. We're headed to Florida. Stick with us. After 4 hours of smooth sledding through Long Island Sound, our first major milestone, New York City. It's surreal. And what seems like moments later, the iconic Statue of Liberty. Don't be a slave to her! This is insane! Nobody would have imagined 3 days after we departed, the storm from hell waxed the East Coast, puts almost 1 million people out of power, from Vermont all the way down to Maryland, right where we sat and waited. This is not what I had signed up for. Look at this. This is crazy. It's gonna get worse. I think we're not gonna hit right down there. I think we're good. Look at this. This is crazy. I get a little breakfast in me, departing Ocean City, Maryland, headed to Norfolk, Virginia. Here we come. Just a couple of small catastrophes. Wind blowing so freaking crazy. Gusts up to about 70 miles an hour. Everybody got a little freaked out, a little bit nervous. Everything turned out okay. Everybody's gonna live. Everybody's gonna be okay. Like a scene out of a movie, all of a sudden, the Coast Guard comes screaming at us and demands that we stand down for reasons at this point we have no idea why. Then it dawns on us. Back at the dock, we were told odds were good. There was going to be a satellite launch at SpaceX. 1 minute and counting. This is the most amazing thing I've ever experienced in my life. I only thought stuff like this would happen Cape Canaveral or, somewhere else. So
how cool is this?
But what confuses us is how there was complete radio silence. The Coast Guard did not call us. They tracked us down and visually stopped us.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, there it is! 1 o'clock! Are you kidding me?
We have liftoff.
ICBM? What do we got there? Woo! He's coming right at us. Hold on.
How cool is that?
Holy shit. Oh my God. The sound. I can't see if you can see it, but. Oh my God. People, I think we're at war. Oh my God, I think we're at war. I'm feeling like this is a scene out of Red Dawn. Are you kidding me? It's like a scene out of Red Dawn. Woo! Captain Daddy-O, you're looking good, baby, looking good. Woo! We finally got caught with our pants down. I'm gonna say we got 6-footers. Between military operations and the seas have turned tough. I don't know if you can tell by the video, but we're down to half throttle. I'd say 5-6 footers all day long. She's handling them. We just had to slow way down, that's all. What are the odds, folks? Military ops. We're right in between them. My partner, Mr. Daddy-O, seems to have forgot we're supposed to be together. He's pushed up ahead of us. And we're in good hands here if something should happen. I'm sure they'll care. Exactly what we had signed up for when we left this morning. We found ourselves out here in some 5-footers. The period is only 5 seconds. 5 seconds ain't enough. So we're rocking the throttles, doing the best we can to keep a steady course. Water's gorgeous, virgin blue, white caps everywhere. Anyways, no small craft advisory, and honestly, there really should be. I am shocked that they didn't have one. What we used to call warfare, when, has changed. We no longer are taking clubs and sticks. Arguably, the wild, wild west, you'd walk out onto the main street and you'd draw your guns and you'd shoot at each other when you had angry confrontations or quote-unquote misunderstandings over things such as money. But now things have changed in our culture. You find more and more, like I'm finding right now, situations where people are sending you a bill. It's almost as they're calling you out on the street and saying, "Look, let's have a showdown. Let's have a shootout." That's how it feels when you get a bill for $4,000 for someone that says, "Look, I changed your battery. I put a new gauge in, I switched that out, and then I did a bunch of things I couldn't do because I couldn't figure it out." That is what's happening aboard my vessel. And quite honestly, this is wrong, And either you have to figure out a way to confront it all or figure out a way to do it all yourself.
Morning, love. You might think about getting an estimate.
Yes, that's it. That's precisely how you try to start with these people. You say, "Look, give me a quote, give me an estimate." They won't estimate anything. They won't do it because they can't.
Give them a limit.
They don't know how far they can go until they get stumped. So you just use a word. We often use, it's offensive. What I'm trying to wrap my mind around is I feel like I have been attacked. My mammalian brain is wired in such a way, I think I speak for many humans, not just me, that instead of somebody taking a club or a spear and throwing it at me, scaring the crap out of me, and creating, this fear that turns into anger. Now they send an email with a bill for $4,000. That the fear turns to anger. It's as though they've thrown a spear at me.
It's not what was agreed upon, and therefore you're upset, and justifiably so. It seems rather random, might I add, that that's the number that got attached versus, an hourly bill and for X amount of hours. Just a random number doesn't seem like an accurate assessment.
There's all kinds of, which by the way, if you look at the line items, they don't make any sense.
Okay. I didn't realize there were line items.
Oh, there's line items. Here's this, there's that. I got to tell you. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the bottom line is The spear was thrown right at my face.
Bow wow.